Most hydrangea gardeners think the biggest threats to their blooms are pests, drought, or poor fertilizer. But one of the most common hydrangea mistakes is something many gardeners do intentionally, and they don't realize it's reducing flowers until months later. What's surprising is that some hydrangeas lose their best blooms because of routine garden tasks that seem completely harmless. A quick pruning session, extra fertilizer, or even a well-intentioned watering habit can quietly affect flowering, root health, and summer performance. And here's the interesting part. Most of these mistakes don't make a plant look unhealthy. In fact, some hydrangeas appear lush, green, and vigorous, while hidden problems are already developing beneath the surface. In this Smart Gardening Guide, we're covering 7 lesser-known hydrangea mistakes that many gardeners make without realizing it, including one mistake that can affect next season's blooms long before flowering even begins. As you watch, let me know in the comments which hydrangea variety you're growing, and whether you've ever made one of these mistakes yourself. You might be surprised how many experienced gardeners have. Let's start with a mistake that often looks helpful, but can quietly remove flowers before they ever have a chance to bloom. And if you are not subscribed to Smart Gardening yet, do that now, and give this video a like so more gardeners can find it. Number 1 mistake is treating midday wilting as a watering emergency. If you've grown hydrangeas for more than one season, there's a good chance you've done this mistake yourself. It's a hot afternoon. You walk outside and see your hydrangea looking exhausted. The leaves are drooping, the plant appears stressed, and your first instinct is to grab the watering can immediately. It feels like the responsible thing to do. But here's what surprises many gardeners. In some cases, that drooping plant may not actually need water at all. Hydrangeas are known for a phenomenon called temporary heat wilt. During hot summer afternoons, especially as temperatures climb and sunlight intensifies, the plant can lose water through its leaves faster than its roots can replace it. As a result, the leaves droop as a protective response. Then, as temperatures cool in the evening, many hydrangeas recover completely without any additional irrigation. The problem begins when gardeners repeatedly interpret this temporary wilt as drought stress. Over time, extra watering can keep the soil consistently wet, reducing oxygen around the root zone. Healthy roots need both moisture and air. When soil remains saturated for extended periods, root function can decline, making the plant even more susceptible to stress during hot weather. What's fascinating is that 2 hydrangeas showing the exact same symptom, drooping leaves, can have completely different needs. One may genuinely require water, while the other simply needs cooler temperatures. A better approach is to inspect the soil before reacting. Check moisture several inches below the surface rather than relying solely on leaf appearance. If the soil is still adequately moist, waiting until evening can often reveal whether the wilt was caused by heat or actual water shortage. And here's what makes this mistake so common. Many gardeners believe they're helping their hydrangeas when they're actually creating the conditions for future root stress. So I'm curious, have you ever rushed to water a wilting hydrangea only to find it looking perfectly normal again by sunset? Let me know in the comments. The next mistake is even more surprising because it often happens months before gardeners notice fewer flowers. Number 2 mistake is feeding hydrangeas nitrogen right before bloom season. This is one of those mistakes that rarely gets mentioned, yet explains a surprising number of hydrangeas that look healthy but produce disappointing blooms. Most gardeners know plants need fertilizer, so when they see fresh spring growth, they naturally want to encourage even more growth. A quick application of a high nitrogen fertilizer seems logical. After all, greener leaves should mean a stronger plant, right? Not always. Nitrogen is essential for plant growth, but timing matters. When hydrangeas receive excessive nitrogen as they approach their flowering period, the plant often shifts more energy toward producing stems and foliage rather than supporting flower development. The result can be misleading. From a distance, the hydrangea looks fantastic. The leaves are large, deep green, and vigorous. The shrub appears healthier than ever. Yet when bloom season arrives, the flower display may be smaller than expected. This is why experienced growers often say that lush foliage isn't always a sign that everything is balanced. Plants constantly distribute resources between roots, stems, leaves, and reproductive structures like flowers. When nutrient ratios become heavily tilted toward vegetative growth, flower and performance can sometimes take a backseat. One clue is a hydrangea that grows aggressively every year, but consistently underperforms when it comes to blooms. Gardeners often assume the solution is more fertilizer, when in reality the fertilizer itself may be contributing to the problem. Before adding nutrients, it's worth asking a simple question. Is a plant struggling because it's hungry or because its nutrient balance is off? In many gardens, hydrangeas growing in reasonably fertile soil need far less fertilizer than people think. And here's something I'd like to know. Have you ever had a hydrangea with huge healthy leaves but surprisingly few flowers? Comment leaves if you've seen it happen, because the next mistake doesn't involve fertilizer at all. In fact, it starts when gardeners try to make their hydrangeas look neater and more attractive. Number 3 mistake is creating a mulch volcano around the base of the plant. Most gardeners have heard that mulch is beneficial. It helps conserve moisture, moderate soil temperature, and can improve soil health over time. All of that is true, but there's a hidden mistake that many hydrangea owners make while trying to do the right thing. They pile mulch directly against the stems. Take a walk through almost any neighborhood in summer and you'll see it. A thick mound of bark, wood chips, or compost stacked around a base of shrubs like a small volcano. It looks tidy, professional, and well-maintained. The problem is that hydrangea stems were never designed to stay buried under constantly moist organic material. When mulch is pressed against the crown of the plant, moisture tends to remain trapped around the lower stems. Air circulation decreases, and the area can stay damp for extended periods after rain or irrigation. Over time, this environment may encourage stem damage, crown stress, or conditions that favor certain diseases. What's deceptive is how slowly this develops. A hydrangea can look perfectly healthy for months, sometimes even years, before symptoms become noticeable. Gardeners often connect declining vigor to age, weather, or fertilizer issues without ever considering the mulch around the base. One of the easiest ways to check is to gently pull mulch back from the crown and look at the lower stems. If they're buried beneath several inches of organic material, the plant may be spending far more time in contact with moisture than nature intended. A better approach is to spread mulch in a wide ring around the root zone, while leaving a small gap around the stems themselves. This still provides the benefits of mulch without creating unnecessary stress near the crown. It's a surprisingly common mistake because it actually makes the garden look better, at least at first glance. Now I'm curious, when you mulch your hydrangeas, do you keep the mulch away from the stems or does it touch the base of the plant? Let me know in the comments. The next mistake is even more surprising because many gardeners mistake it for a sunlight problem when the real cause is happening underground. Number 4 mistake is planting hydrangeas in soil that drains too well. At first, this sounds backwards. Gardeners are constantly warned about poor drainage. We hear about root rot, soggy soil, and waterlogged roots. So naturally, many people assume that the faster water drains away, the better. But hydrangeas are not desert plants. One of the most overlooked reasons for weak summer performance is soil that sheds water almost as quickly as it's applied. This happens frequently in raised beds filled with coarse materials, sandy soils, or planting mixes designed for plants that prefer drier conditions. After watering, the surface appears moist for a short time. A few hours later, however, much of that moisture has already moved beyond the most active root zone. The gardener sees a plant that constantly seems thirsty and assumes the solution is more frequent watering. What they're often seeing is not a watering problem. It's a moisture retention problem. Hydrangeas evolved in environments where roots could access relatively consistent moisture. When soil dries too rapidly, the plant enters a cycle of repeated stress and recovery. Growth may continue, but the shrub often spends valuable energy responding to fluctuating moisture levels instead of supporting strong flowering and healthy foliage. One clue is a hydrangea that wilts quickly after hot days despite receiving regular irrigation. Another is needing to water far more often than neighboring shrubs. A simple soil test can be revealing. After watering deeply, check the soil 6 to 8 inches down the next day. Many gardeners are shocked to find that the root zone is already becoming dry. The goal isn't constantly wet soil. The goal is evenly moist soil that can hold water long enough for roots to benefit from it. And here's a question for you. What type of soil do you have where you grow hydrangeas? Clay, sandy, or somewhere in between? Drop it in the comments. It can explain a lot about how these plants perform. Because the next mistake is one that gardeners often make with the best intentions, and it can quietly reduce flowering for an entire season. Number 5 mistake is removing the ugly stems that are actually carrying next year's blooms. This mistake catches even experienced gardeners off guard. Every spring, hydrangeas begin waking up at different speeds. Some stems leaf out quickly, while others remain bare for weeks. Looking at the shrub, it's easy to assume those slower stems are dead. So out come the pruners. The gardener removes what appears to be lifeless wood, cleans up the plant, and feels satisfied that the hydrangea will now put its energy into healthy growth. But here's the surprising part. Many hydrangea varieties can be incredibly slow to break dormancy on older stems. What looks dead in early spring may actually be very much alive. Hidden inside those seemingly lifeless stems are buds that can eventually produce some of the season's strongest flowers. Researchers and experienced hydrangea growers often recommend patience before removing older stems for exactly this reason. The problem is that dead wood and dormant wood can look remarkably similar from a distance. Both may appear brown. Both may lack leaves. Both can seem unproductive. Then a few weeks later, the stems that were left alone suddenly begin producing new growth, while the stems that were removed are gone forever, along with the flowers they may have carried. One simple observation can prevent this mistake. Before cutting, lightly scratch the outer bark with a fingernail. If green tissue is visible beneath the surface, the stem is still alive. Even if no leaves have emerged yet, the plant may simply be waking up more slowly than expected. This is one of those mistakes that feels harmless in the moment, but can influence bloom production for the entire year. So be honest, have you ever cut back a hydrangea, only to later wonder whether those stems might have been alive after all? Let me know in the comments. And the next mistake is perhaps the most misunderstood of all, because gardeners often blame the weather when the real issue started months earlier. Number 6 mistake is assuming more morning sun always means more flowers. This advice is repeated so often that many gardeners accept it without question. Hydrangeas need more sun to bloom. And while sunlight is certainly important, the reality is much more complicated. Every year, gardeners move struggling hydrangeas into brighter locations, hoping for bigger flower displays. At first, the decision seems logical. More light should mean more energy for plant. But what many people don't realize is that increasing sunlight can also dramatically increase water demand, leaf temperature, and overall plant stress, especially as summer approaches. In cooler climates, additional sun may indeed improve flowering. In hotter regions, however, the exact same change can have the opposite effect. Researchers studying plant stress have long observed that photosynthesis doesn't simply increase forever as sunlight increases. Once temperatures become high enough, plants begin spending more energy protecting themselves from heat and moisture loss. This is where many hydrangea gardeners become confused. The shrub receives more sunlight than before, yet leaves begin scorching along the edges. Flowers fade faster. After noon, wilting becomes more frequent. Growth may even slow despite the increased light exposure. The gardener often assumes the plant still needs more sun, when the real issue is that environmental stress has begun outweighing the benefits. One of the most useful observations you can make isn't how much sunlight your hydrangea receives in total, but when it receives it. Morning sun followed by protection during the hottest part of the day often produces very different results than intense afternoon exposure, especially before and during July. That's why two gardeners following the exact same advice can end up with completely different outcomes. So here's my question. How many hours of direct sun does your hydrangea receive each day? Drop the number in the comments. It will be interesting to compare growing conditions, because the final mistake is probably the most common hidden mistake of all, and most gardeners don't realize they're making it until bloom season arrives. Number 7 mistake is judging hydrangea health only by what you can see above ground. This may be the most common hidden mistake in hydrangea gardening because it feels completely logical. Most gardeners evaluate their plants the same way they evaluate almost everything else in the garden. They look at the leaves. If the foliage is green, the plant must be healthy. If the shrub is growing vigorously, everything must be fine. If there are plenty of stems and leaves, the season is probably on track. But hydrangeas often tell a very different story below the soil surface. A plant can produce abundant foliage while quietly struggling with root zone issues, inconsistent moisture, compacted soil, nutrient imbalances, or other stresses that haven't yet become visible above ground. In fact, some of the most disappointing bloom seasons begin with shrubs that look perfectly healthy just weeks earlier. This happens because leaves are often the last place where problems become obvious. Roots experience the issue first. Whether it's soil compaction limiting oxygen movement, repeated shallow watering encouraging weak root distribution, or nutrients becoming unavailable due to soil conditions, the root system usually feels the effects long before the leaves reveal them. That's why experienced growers often spend as much time observing the soil as they do observing the plant itself. They pay attention to how quickly water infiltrates, how long moisture remains available, whether mulch is helping or hindering, and how the soil behaves during changing weather conditions. The surprising lesson is that successful hydrangea growing is rarely about reacting to visible problems. It's about understanding the conditions that create those problems before they appear. And that's what makes hydrangeas such fascinating plants. The healthiest shrubs aren't always the ones receiving the most attention. They're often the ones growing in an environment that consistently supports healthy roots. Before we wrap up, let me know in the comments, which of these 7 mistakes surprised you the most? And have you caught yourself making any of them?